So what is going on, everyone? So here's the surprise I have for you. We right here on my screen, we have another fellow finance YouTuber. Name is Andrew Mo Money. I will make sure to get his link to his YouTube below. But what we have him on here for is he actually had the very special opportunity to actually talk with Pixel, who made the most updated due diligence about GME squeezing leading up to March 19th. And then he's been talking much more about this one, about kind of some follow-up. So I didn't really have the time today to go into this in depth. So I figured, hey, let's bring him on so we all are on the exact same page of specifically what's going on with GME, because we know so many other things are tied to it. So he's on the line right now. Let me just figure out some of these technical things to show him properly. Hang on one second, Andrew. All right. Thank you. All right, let's do this. And then let's do, I believe I could do, we'll get the charts over here on the right. We will bring him here over. Oops. Let me just do this. Hello, Andrew. What is going on here? Let me get up the charts for everyone. There we go. And let me just get his audio for the rest of stream. Where are we? All right, Discord, guys, drop us a thumbs up. Hey, Andrew, could you say something just so we could test if people can hear you?
My wife's boyfriend is not going to like me being on this channel.
All right, chat, just make sure, let me know if you can hear him. This is, once again, Andrew Mo Money has been talking a lot about what's been going on with GameStop and everything. Actually, maybe it's best if we just do this a little bit with the charts. Don't forget, check out his YouTube, fellow finance YouTuber, streams just like I do. All right, can you guys, especially in Discord, just let me know if you can hear him properly. I'm pretty sure that everyone can. Let me just double check everything. So the reason, once again, if you guys are just joining into stream, of why we have Andrew on, he's been up to date on all this impressive due diligence going on in the world of really specific to GME, but we all obviously know that that is highly related to what's going on with AMC. So, all right, it looks like everyone can hear it. It's fine. So, Andrew, start us off. Lay out the picture of first what's going on with Pixel. And so explain his due diligence and what was going on, just the main takeaways that this chat could like say, okay, and then we'll go over to kind of the thing that was, I guess, contradictory to it.
Well, first off, I already shouted out my wife's boyfriend, but now I want to shout out Professor Meatball. He is sitting patiently as always. I'm just his apprentice. I'm just a data scientist here, hoping to become a professor like him one day. But thank you so much for having me on the show, Matt. I want to say first that Pixel is starting to become a pretty good friend of mine. His real name is Josh. He is a lawyer, 21-year-old lawyer in Germany, and he has been doing research about how exactly should GME be shaping up in the last week or so. And that has gotten him pretty important renown because he has been one of the most vocal in terms of certainty. And he has been certain, he has said recently, although he has retracted it more recently, is that he is 99.9% certain that March 19th is the squeeze date, or so certainly around that time is when the squeeze should happen. And he put out many different reasons why, about 7 or 8 reasons. However, some of those reasons have started to become under some intense scrutiny. Another person who has done their DD called Anchored Stone, I'm looking at their DD right now, has put a couple of holes in his due diligence. Not that he could respond. Josh, being on my channel, came over, did a live stream interview, his first and last one, and he's not going to do another one for a long time because he is currently in the German countryside with his wife's boyfriend, and his new dog.
That's awesome. So obviously, let me just plug that really quick there. If you want to hear it, like I've already listened to the discussion, but it was a live stream on Andrew's YouTube. So if you want to hear his like person-to-person discussion with Josh, aka Pixel, about the squeeze on GME, check that out. It's still up on his channel. Just let me plug that. So thank you for laying that out. Can you give us just some of the highlights of maybe like the top 2, 3, 4 things of why he thinks the squeeze will happen on March 19th? I know there's that big DD, but like, would you say it's more because of what he's seeing in the options market? What are you seeing of just like the positioning with shorting XRT? I know that was a big one with the ETF. Like, what would you say are like his main things of like why March 19th?
You covered that already pretty well. I had a chance to ask him that exact question on my interview. So I said, out of all of the points you mentioned, what are the most important? He said XRT. So if you guys aren't aware, XRT is an ETF that essentially hiding the fact a lot of GME shares have not yet been covered. And March 19th, supposedly, it's XRT rebalance day. Every 3 months or so, XRT posts dividends. And so far, that has had a pretty big sized hole put into it by Anchored Stone. And if I can go directly into that specific point, XRT rebalance day, he thinks that he is flawed in that XRT will pay a dividend by the 19th of March. He normally ex-dividend dates are published months in advance, and this one for this year has not been published yet. So why does he think that a process that would normally take about a month between the declaration date and the ex-dividend date for most stocks, specifically for XRT, has always been 2 months in advance? Why would it be less than 3 weeks away? So that already puts a little bit of fear in my heart. However, this is still just one person's conjecture versus another person's hypothesis, right? So this is not a damning statement. Excuse my French, but the most important part is that we have made a small boo-boo in the sense that XRT, when Josh put out his DD, he said that XRT's holdings of GME has increased. And the counter DD to that is that XRT's position on GME has not changed at all. It's just that GME's price has increased, which is an easy conflation at times. So still the jury is out. Very difficult to say whether or not XRT, Josh's biggest reason to point to the March 19th date, whether or not that's actually going to pan out. Also, cut me off at any time. The other big point that Josh was pointing to was the quadruple witching day. That is the day that 4 different markets have their contracts expire at the exact same time. This happens 4 times a year, so it's not much of a blue moon because it's not like it happens once in a couple of thousand years. It's just something that has happened 3 months ago and will happen on March 19th. That is expected to have a lot of volume, which is possibly not directly connected to volatility. However, that is going to be a day where if we are expecting a squeeze of any kind, a gamma squeeze, a delta squeeze, a short squeeze, that's the day that both the institutions, the hedge funds, and the retail investors such as yourselves could be making history.
All right, thank you. I think that clears it up. And once again, if you guys want to check it out, that the video, the live stream with Josh, it's still up on his YouTube. Actually, he even did a follow-up today on this one that was kind of a little contradictory. I highly recommend checking out those streams. I also recommend like you reading this yourself. It has a big impact on GME. So with you actively talking to it and going over that due diligence, Andrew, what where would you put it with GameStop and AMC? Do you think the chance of the squeeze is like, are you at 0? Are you optimistic, pessimistic? Do you think it's going to squeeze? Like, what's your personal takeaway from everything you've been seeing?
Gosh, I'm surprised that you are the first YouTuber that's asked me something about what I think. So I'm gonna have to start thinking about that. First of all, I have an opinion. My opinion is that dates are a trap. Dates are a trap because one, we do have to report on them as financial YouTubers. We have to show people that this is someone's hypothesis. And then we have to make sure that people who might paper hand or people who might jump on as a retail investor but not know the full picture, you have to understand that if you are lulled into a false sense of confidence, you will mess up the squeeze for everyone else. This is the biggest problem that we have seen historically, even in the GME hearing on Congress, when Deep Effing Value, Roaring Kitty showed up on screen. That boosted the price of GME by 10% for the 30 seconds that he was on stage. Once he was taken off of the live stream, that price suddenly dropped again because people were expecting too much. Your expectations for a specific date is going to crash the actual price because suddenly it's not as of much of a fairy tale as you originally thought. So my expectation is highly bullish on the fact that GME will squeeze because of the factors that still lie in wait. Even the counter DD to the March 19th date says at the very bottom, everyone should read it like Matt said, this is not the end. It's just that it's not likely that March 19th is the squeeze date in question.
Okay, I really like that. And like even expectations, it's almost turning into with so many people knowing about that due diligence, it's turning into that classic almost buy the rumor, sell the news thing of like with the news, we know the date and everything. So with that, like you said, that's perfect. I love how you put it with the expectations so high, March 19th leading up to that. And the counter DD, I read through it. Thank you for explaining that a bit more. I just want the rest of my channel right now watching to know that like March 19th, like that's not the end all be all. It could very much happen before, after, it could be spot on, but it's just such a moving target. So I don't want everyone like putting their life savings, like, guys, remember, this is all just like, this is entertainment. We're studying, we're sharing our opinions on some of these news breaking things. In no way am I providing financial advice. Neither is Andrew. These are opinions on it. We're just trying to like convey what is going on in the news. So it is good to know you have to balance out all the risk, all the reward, and realize that nothing is ever 100%. Just because people have all this amazing due diligence, the market is a forever dynamic changing place. So be aware of that. Obviously, I think one of the most interesting things in the counter DD was the fact that like, oh, are we giving away the playbook type of a deal? Like obviously the hedge funds, like they're reading this, they're staying like up to date on it. So I'm very interested. Obviously, as this continues to develop, when there's ever breaking one, I would be more than happy to see if we could have you back on, because you're really on top of it. So if that would be something you're interested in, right now the chat is absolutely loving that you're in here. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing what's going on as the storyline develops. Guys, make sure if you want some of this inside DD, check out his YouTube. I linked it, guys. It should be right at the top of the YouTube. If you go into the description of this video, make sure you're checking it out. But guys, drop some Space Ape diamond hand emojis for Andrew to thank him for being here. We will continue doing this in the future. But once again, Andrew, from the bottom of my heart, the bottom of the rest of these Space Apes, we appreciate it. And also send Meatball some of our love from over here, all right?
Meatball, you get a boop straight from Matt Kohrs. And once more, fantastic job on 100,000 subscribers.
Thank you so much.
Big, well-deserved. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Everyone say thank you. Thank you, Andrew. Have a good one.